Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. I, of course, am your host, CDB. You are not. And today we're going to try to cover a lot of ground. We're going to do a shave with Soap Commander Liberty, and the notes are coconut, florals, and vanilla. It comes together rather nicely. I'm not one for florals, but this one, because of the coconut and vanilla, it's a really nice blend if you like sweet type scents. This was sent to me by Mr. John Wallace. So John Wallace, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. Sweet scents are not for John, so he's in the club. And when he got the scents, he was like, these aren't for me. But I think CDB might like them, and so he sent them on to me. So thank you, John. I really appreciate it, and we'll be using that today. We're going to be using I believe it's the Lutz, if memory serves, slant razor, which you see here. And also, I want to take a rare opportunity to respond to a comment. And let me just explain my position on YouTube comments. I look at YouTube comment section as a place for the viewers to communicate with each other. If you want to communicate with me or you want a response from me, email cdb@imcdb.com. I try to answer as many as I can. Sometimes they get caught up in spam or something or other, and I don't get to you, and I apologize for that. But if I see them, I try to answer them if I possibly can. So again, if you want to communicate with me, email cdb@imcdb.com, and I'll respond as I can. The YouTube comments I rarely see, and the only reason I saw this comments is something changed in my filtering in my email, and all of a sudden the YouTube comments started coming in my email box, whereas they used to be filtered out. So I have to change that. But anyway, I saw a comment from an individual, and he was talking about the head shave video I did this past weekend. And I was talking about the Gadsden flag, and Chris Pratt had been seen wearing the Gadsden flag, and they were accusing him of being an extremist, which is ridiculous. And basically what I said during the course of the video is we have to stop letting these symbols of freedom and liberty and symbols in general be hijacked by extremist groups, or for folks on the left or the right to label these certain symbols and apply them to extremist groups. And the comment said something to the effect that I had given no instruction on how we combat that. And then it went on to say something about they seriously doubt that I would leave the safety of my home to do anything about it. Well, let me connect the dots. Most of you understand where I'm coming from. And you don't have to be, given step by step directions. But for those of you who don't, let me first say, I unequivocally condemn any group that commits acts of violence, regardless of the cause. If it is lawless violence, I condemn it. It is absolutely inappropriate. My suggestion for how we combat what I was mentioning in the video the other day, and I mentioned it at the time, is we say stop. We say stop. We say no. We buy the Gadsden flag shirt. We wear it. We tell people about it. We communicate. The way that you deal with bad policy and ridiculous or stupid free speech is to counter it with good policy and better speech. It is not to take to the streets, to bludgeon folks, or commit acts of violence, as the comments seem to imply or suggest. Now, I could be wrong on that, but when you say, I doubt you're going to leave the safety of your home to do anything, it implies there's some physical action or you have to go somewhere to do something. And I'm suggesting that all you need to do is use your First Amendment right. Speak out on social media, as I do. Influence people as you can. Support politicians who believe in what you believe, especially if they uphold liberties that you feel strongly about. Donate to causes that are important to you, as I have, as well as backing, politicians that stand up for what you believe in. That is the way you accomplish things. You renounce ridiculous behavior when you're talking with your friends, with your coworkers, to the extent that it's allowed to talk about certain issues, and you just let it be known that, hey, this is not Correct. Chris Pratt is not an extremist. He's the furthest thing from an extremist. And you discuss it with people, and you have an ongoing and open and honest discussion. You do not need to take to the streets to do anything. You simply exercise your right to free speech. If you have social media accounts, post something about it. Like, this is ridiculous. Point out the absurdity of it. People on the other side of the issue have every right to make these ridiculous claims. It's up to you, if you're a reasonable person, to knock that stuff down with speech. I want to be very clear. We're not talking about physical acts. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about speech. We're talking about backing lawmakers and policy. This is the way things is done in this here United States. We, through peaceful means, bring about change. We do not go and bludgeon people and, who knows what the implication or what was being suggested there. But I just going to come out right and say, look, I'm not in favor of any sort of lawless activity, period. And so I don't want anybody to get the impression that at any time I have suggested anything of the sort, because I do not. In fact, I condemn it. I do not care if your cause is righteous. If your cause is righteous and you are committing lawless acts in support of that so-called righteous cause, I don't care. You do it the way that we're supposed to do it, through exercising our right. Run for office if you want to. We support things in the way that we see fit and to the best of our capability. If you have a following, speak out to those people who follow you, or people you might be able to influence. Might be your neighbor. I can tell you, over the years, I've been influenced by a lot of people, and people who put forth compelling arguments that changed my perspective. And this is the way we change things, through honest dialogue, not by attacking people, not by calling people names, not by continually, belittling and attacking in a very negative way. Now, sometimes people have to be called out. I get it. I do. But the name calling, the trolling, the foolishness, that just goes on, particularly with anonymous accounts, it's just ridiculous. It's not, there's no merit. Like I've always said, if you can't operate as a known individual and make a criticism of someone as a known individual, it carries no weight with me. If I don't know who you are, I don't care. But I do care about how the other viewers might take something you say, which is the only reason that I'm addressing this. Because I do care if somebody reads something like that and then all of a sudden decides, oh, this guy might be suggesting I need to do X or Y. And I'm here to tell you, that is not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting you speak out and you work within the laws and rules that we have. You take advantage of these platforms on social media and you try to bring about change as you can. And beyond that, do the other things. So now I've step by step, very specifically laid out how you can bring about this change. Trust me. As I said before, I have been influenced. My opinion has changed. For example, years ago, probably 20 or more years ago, I wasn't on board with gay marriage, for example. I had a religious perspective on that. And my perspective was changed through listening to people, trying to understand other points of view. And now I'm of the opinion like, hey, if you want to get married and be happy, regardless of what your orientation may be, go on and get married and be happy. It's not for me to judge. It's not for me to get in the way of someone else's happiness. So I am for liberties for everyone. Now, that said, there are limits on everything. You can't claim you're a duck and then want special rights by virtue of being a duck. I mean, it does get rather ridiculous in some of these cases. So, we have to be reasonable. But generally speaking, I believe in liberty. And so I say use your liberties to try to pursue change to the greatest extent you can. And if you're doing that, you're doing all you can do. In addition to supporting politicians, you can write an editorial if you want to in the paper. You reach people through these sort of means. You can go and protest peacefully if you want to. I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying there are ways to do this. I'm not suggesting you go and confront extremist groups. That is not the way to accomplish things. That will only lead to most likely physical altercation or violence. And that is not, one, legal, nor is it anything that I would ever suggest. In fact, I condemn it unequivocally and absolutely, as I've said in this video. So I want that to be clear. And please, as I said before, if you want to reach me, do so via cdb@imcdb.com. As time permit, I'll respond to you. But the comments, 98% of the time I'm not going to see them. I only see a few now because it's coming in my email. I plan to deal with that. So reach me if you want to. If you want to support the channel, share the content. The comments are great if you want to make positive comments, but even better way to do it is just simply to share the video. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Minds, whatever platform you tend to prefer on. Share the video, and hopefully someone will listen. And if they find value in it, great. Maybe they'll watch, and maybe some of this stuff will sink in that I think is righteous. Of course, there'll be a lot of disagreement on that, but of course, people have the right to say I'm full of it, and they often do, and that's entirely okay. But if you do so in the comments, I'm most likely not going to see it. So again, communicate with me directly if you want to. Otherwise, I probably will not know and certainly won't answer it. I answered in this case only because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I wanted to clarify that. We had a really good shave with Soap Commander Liberty. As you see there, really good soap. Fine people you can buy from Soap Commander with confidence. Big thumbs up for Soap Commander products. The West Coast shaving brush. We got the bowl here sent by the inspector. And the Lutz was given to me by the inspector also, by the way. Did a nice job. I want to thank everyone, as always, for joining me. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You are not. God bless.